Hey, what's going on, folks? Today we're checking out a video on how to fix your support card deck, builds, tricks, tips, that sort of thing. This is a video that naturally I'm interested in as I was looking at several videos, right, for support cards, but now it's not going to show me. But anyways, so that's that. I naturally want to see this. Might as well record it. You know, there's not going to be a lot of editing. I'll talk, whatever. And I saw that you guys have suggested this video for Mujin, so I am going to check that out. It's a 40-minute video versus a 16-minute video, but I need to watch the 16-minute video because I have not been touching my support cards. I'm like, I don't even touch it. I don't know what to do. Don't want to screw it up. So I got to watch this first, and then I'm going to circle up to the chaotic video. And I'm going to keep checking out just videos that catch my attention, and you guys can recommend some stuff. I don't want things spoiled. So I think I could watch something on Silent Suzune based on how her story is, but I have to stay away from lore information that talk about Special Week or Oguri Cap and stuff like that. But let me know some lore videos that are interested in that I could check out that won't spoil things for me. I'll appreciate that. Just comment below or use the Discord. Let's jump into the video.
Your support cards are the biggest factor when it comes to completing a career, farming sparks, but also building outstanding Umas. And I get it, choosing the right cards for your Uma is one of the hardest things to learn. But the good news is, I'm going to teach you everything about support cards, what they are, what they do, what to focus on, how to use them, and how to choose them. And for the last thing, so many of you have asked for this, and I was going to make a separate video, but I've decided to include it in here as well.
Yo, check out the channel Static Nexus. I have it in the description of this video. Very informative. It's the second video I've reacted to from theirs. The whole channel, from what I've seen, is dedicated to lots of Uma Musume content. So check them out, guys.
Started. When choosing your support cards, you should be mindful of your types come in 3 tiers. So let's get started. There are
I try to hook this man up.
And I'm going to explain why we are going to choose those support cards for so many of you have asked for this, and I was going to make a separate video, but I've decided to include it in here as well. Deck recommendations for every 3-star Uma in the game. And I'm going to explain why we are going to choose those support cards for those particular Umas and give you a clear sheet for each 3-star Uma that you'll be able to screenshot and take with you after the video. So let's get started. There are 6 types of support cards: speed, stamina, power, guts, wit, and POW, being friends. I just like saying POW. And all these types come in 3 tiers of rarity, being R, SR, or SSR. And support cards serve 4 primary functions for your Uma's career: effects, friendship training, skill hints, and events. So what do these do? Well, let's start with effects. Now, support cards have a lot of effects in common, but some have unique ones. Now, POW support cards have unique effects that other specialty support cards just don't. And they are event recovery, which basically just increases the energy recovered from a support card's event; event effectiveness, which increases the stat gained from the support card's events; failure protection, which decreases the probability of failure when training together; energy cost reduction, decreases the energy consumed when training together. But when it comes to the general stat support cards, minus the unique effects, these are the most common effects that you will find on these cards. We'll use Kita-san Black as an example to go through some now and the rest later with some context. So, Kita-san's unique effect increases the effectiveness of training performed together 5%. And we can actually add this 5% with her training effectiveness, which is 10%, because it's the exact same thing. So training with the support card Kita-san increases training effectiveness by 15%. Increases the frequency at which the character participates in their preferred training type, 20. And we've also got speciality priority, which increases the frequency at which the character participates in the preferred training as well, and that's 80. So we can add these 2 together, which gives us 100. But what are these speciality points worth in percentages? Well, the only way that I found to calculate this online that made the most sense would be the speciality points times 0.5, and for this case it would mean that Kita-san has 50% chance to appear on a preferred training stat, being speed. Next we have friendship bonus, 25%, which, as you know, is one of the most important things when it comes to a stat support card, because it increases the effectiveness of friendship training that we're going to go into more depth just in a bit. Mood effect amplifies the effect of mood when training together with that support card. Initial friendship gauge, 35. The friendship gauge is the bond level. So with Kita-san having an initial friendship gauge at 35 means she'll start her bond level at 35. And once we reach bond level 80, after that, and for every turn moving forward after we've crossed bond bond 80 will have the chance to trigger friendship training with that support card on their preferred stat. Race bonus increases the stat gain from races. Fan bonus increases the fan gain from races. Hint levels increases the level of hints gained through events. Hint frequency, which kind of goes hand in hand with hint levels, but what hint frequency does, it increases the support card's chance to provide a hint each turn. But actually, it does not only help get hint for skills, it actually also helps increase your bond level faster so you can get to friendship training faster. Let me explain. Whenever you're
See, I know this is going to sound silly to you. You would probably say just read the card. It is actually so overwhelming. You guys ever try to clean your room and you don't know where to start? It is so much information from my one cell brain. I don't know where to start. So it's simple as, oh, just read it and just do it. It's really more, not overwhelming, intimidating. The game and some of the stuff is intimidating, and I just don't know what to do. But if my back's against the wall or someone had a gun to me, like, I'm going to figure it out, and I would have. But it's so intimidating. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't figure it out. You know, it's one of those things.
doing a standard
but now it sounds so
easy.
easy.
With the support card,
I guess it says exactly what the card
says. 7 bond points.
Mm-hmm.
And with a hint event,
who needs
where the
this
support
video?
card is
Not
about
Lee.
to give you a hint from one of its skills, it's an extra 5 points. So that's a total of plus 12 points if the card triggers a skill hint, which is the red exclamation icon. And furthermore, if you have the charm condition, it's an extra 2 points on top of all that as well. But you won't get the charm condition very often, so just focus on the fact that standard training is plus 7 bond points, and when you're doing standard training with a hint, it's plus 12 bond points, which means you're going to get to the friendship trainings faster. And just to touch quickly on friendship training again, when a support card reaches bond 80, it unlocks the chance for that support card to trigger friendship training in all future turns. And what friendship training, aka rainbow training, will do is make that support card appear in its specific training type. So for Kita-san Black, that would be speed, and it will provide a huge stat boost training in that stat. And the size of that boost depends on the card's friendship bonus, but also how many other support cards are friendship training at the same time. And there's
I've been training without using any boosters or support cards. I mean, I use them, but without upgrading them. So I can see how I'm racing like with the hand behind my back. Well, maybe you could do that. With the anchor on my leg.
Also a multiplier to this, which is the Uma's mood that affects the general training, but also the friendship trainings. So when you do have your pillar support cards above bond 80, you want to be sure to keep your mood at great. And when I say pillar support cards, I mean the support cards that have the maximum friendship training bonus. So most likely the ones that are uncapped and level max. Now for the highlight of this video, which support cards and which skills for each Uma and why. I'm going to talk you through a few of the character build sheets I made and explain why we're picking those cards, those stats, but also skills. We don't need to go through all of them because there's a lot of pace chasers currently in the Uma roster, and boy oh boy, it took me over 20 hours to make these sheets because I didn't want to recommend any support cards that have skills from the Uma's innate skills, being the ones that you can purchase without the hints. Now before we begin, a little disclaimer: the stats spreads and support card spread on these character sheets are optimal for completing your Uma's career and building them correctly based on their distance, style, and stat bonuses. However, the support card choices aren't final, and neither are the skills. These are my personal recommendations that will be influenced also by other support cards and skills you choose to pair them with. Let's get started. When choosing your support cards, you should be mindful of your Uma's distance, style, stat bonuses, legacies, support card effects, support card events, and also skills. For Maruzensky, she's a frontrunner, so we know we can make use of certain frontrunner skills, but not all of them, because some of them are superior depending on the race distance due to their possible activation windows, and that's where the Uma's distance comes into play again. But we'll go into more depth about skills in general in another video. So she's a front runner.
Now I have to do a pause because that's important to note. Like using Bakshin. If the skill is speed, but it kicks in at, I don't know, some long distance race, but she don't run long distance race, I'm wasting my time, right? Because she don't do those types of things. I see. It has to be optimal for their scenarios that they're in. I don't even know how okay. I'm stumbling because I don't want to reveal how ignorant I am. But the concept of understanding what race a person is and what they're suited for and what distance they run is also something like I'm kind of missing that. I just know that it exists. But how we get there?
Distance is mild to medium. So we're going to stat spread her as per our how to build video, as is mild to medium.
What's going on with this card right here? Kind of got my attention. I thought I saw
So
some
we're going to
toes out,
stat
but
spread
no.
her as per our how to build video as a mild to medium front runner. Her stat bonuses
Mild to
aren't
medium
indicating
front
our
runner.
support card's direction, as the 20% is on wit. So for the support card spread, we're going to use either 3 or 4 speed support cards with 2 power and perhaps 1 stamina card as well if the power cards don't provide a recovery skill. And we would need a recovery 1 stamina card as well.
So recommended support card spread. I see. I see. Okay.
Well, if the power cards don't provide a recovery skill, and we would need a recovery skill for my Rozensky because she's a front runner and front runners are weak in corners. And because she has a lot of medium races, these corners are extended and make her more vulnerable to her
medium
weakness.
races.
Now, I'm sorry
she has
to
a lot
ask
of
this,
medium.
but I'm
She has a
going
lot
to
of
need
medium
your full
races.
attention at 100% here for 20 seconds because this part is very important. Ideally, for all Umas, you want to go for only 2 types of support cards. In this case, that would be full speed and 2 power to avoid spreading the friendship training too widely. And to help keep the stamina up to speed, we would do that through the legacies. So stamina would have to be the highest stat provided by stamina up to speed and 2 power to avoid spreading the friendship. 2 types of support cards. In this case, that would be full speed or 100% here for 20 seconds because this part is very important. Ideally, for all Umas, you want to go for only 2 types of support cards. In this case, that would be full speed and 2 power to avoid spreading the friendship training too widely. And to help keep the stamina up to speed, we would do that through the legacies. So stamina would have to be the highest stat provided by the blue box in the legacies, and ideally ones that can provide 1 or 2 recovery skills as well. And since when you train speed, you also train power, and since when you train power, you also train stamina, you would not need a stamina support card. But the truth is, if I don't recommend it this way with the stamina support card, as in 3 speed, 2 power, and 1 stamina, and these sheets land on the lap of an unexperienced player that hasn't seen the video, they will not understand that the first support card spread is for those that are not paying attention to the right legacies for the run and only focusing on the right support cards to complete the build, and that the second one is actually the most optimal one because you're not only paying attention to the support card spread, you're also paying attention to the legacy spread to reach the correct target stat spread and also the skills. But don't worry, after we're done with these sheets,
I don't understand support spread versus legacy spread. Like when he's saying the support spread versus the legacy spread just now, I kind of don't understand that.
I'll physically show you the process myself. Now, I only recommend choosing skills that have a distance condition if the Uma's career isn't too much of a mixed bag. Rozensky has short, mile, medium, and long races, so you're better off choosing skills based off her style, being a front runner, since it will be relevant in all races, rather than her distance that will only be relevant in some. But this also depends if you're building her for PvP. And the skills you see next to the support cards belong to those support cards and are recommendations from me that have value for my Rozensky based on her skills, style, and career. But remember, there are always going to be other options, and ultimately, your deck is going to depend on what you have available in your inventory. And just remember, if you're starting the game or even played the game for 1 month as a free-to-play player, don't beat yourself up about it, because it's totally normal that you're not going to have more than 2 support cards that are going to either match the style or the distance for your Uma where you'll be able to get the right skills. So what do we do about that? Well, the good news is that the skills are not the most important thing. The most important thing is you to follow the stat spread. That's based on what legacy stat spread you've picked, and that you need to complete with your support card spread to stage the stat spread properly so that when friendship training comes, you barely have to do any thinking at all. And just remember, the target stat spread as well as the legacy and support card spread to stage it will always be more important than the skill hints in your career. That's what you need to focus on first, the support card spread and the legacy spread. So for my Rozensky, that's going to be 4 speed support cards and 2 power support cards with the right stamina legacies that also give a recovery skill. Next, we have Bourbon. Yep, she's a pain. Same process. We know she's a front runner with a mixed bag of mile, medium, and long in her career. So we're going to stat spread her as per our how to.
Earlier on, I was asking, like, how do you guys know the distance versus front, medium, mile, long? I get it now. I get it.
The build video as a medium to long front runner. Her stat bonuses are indicating our support card direction kinda, as the 20% is on stamina. However, we're still better off building her with 2 power support cards instead of stamina.
You could be a closer, right? And then still be mile long, medium, etc. I know something fell, but I'm gonna worry about that later.
because training and friendship training on power is also going to give stamina, which we need to have an equal level throughout her career the best we can. And power support cards often have better skills for front runners, so this is why we're going to go with that. And just as we did before, for stamina, we'll use 2 legacies that can provide her with at least 42 stamina, but if we're ignoring the legacies, we would need 3 speed, 2 power, and 1 stamina support card. Next, we have our little moody troublemaker, Rice Shower. And again, we're gonna have the same approach. Her style is pace, medium to long, so we'll stat spread her as per our pace, medium to long recipe. Now, she has stat bonuses of 10% more in stamina and 20% more in guts. And when we train stamina, we're also boosting guts. And you guys know exactly how I feel about guts, but it's still part of Rice Shower's direction, so taking advantage of that whilst keeping her power where her stamina is a challenge, but not impossible. Speed gives power, and we're going to build a lot of speed. And now, to help power keep up with stamina, we'll choose 2 legacies that provide at least 42 power. Now, you can also choose a power support card for Rice Shower if you're struggling to manage her mood, and stamina cards are especially good for medium to long Umas due to the recovery skills they provide. But choosing those also depends on their style, as we touched on earlier with the front runners. And you'll notice that on these sheets, we're running 2 power support cards instead of stamina for Umas that are focused more on sprint to mile races or slightly above. But this is not carved in stone, and you can run power cards for medium to long races and stamina for sprint and mile. And the combinations are endless due to the fact that legacies can pass down stats, skills, and attributes. Now, I'm sure you're starting to understand how important it is to synergize your support card choices with your legacy choices based on your target stat spread, which you achieve through friendship training, inspirations, and secondary stat boosts. I'm going to run the other character sheets here now, and in the meantime, I just want to say how proud I am of you. You've learned so much while managing your life circumstances around this game, and that's the best you can do. And if you're still feeling overwhelmed by Uma Musume and all its mechanics, that's okay. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll keep making high effort guides as long as you'll have me. So, I'm now going to demonstrate how to pick your support cards based on what we've just covered. Now, it is a confusing process that often results in your Uma stats being spread completely in the wrong directions. And yes, it is partly due to RNG, but mainly how you matched your legacies with your support card deck. But don't blame yourself for this, because like I said, this is one of the hardest things to do. So sit tight, we're going to make it easy. I'm going to train Daiwa Scarlet because she's adorable. Now, Daiwa has mostly medium races in her career, but also a couple of mile, but also a long race. And with that in mind, we're going to look at her distance. She's an A on mile and an A on medium, and is known to perform best as a front runner with an A in that style. Oh yeah, and a little tip on people who are running Daiwa Scarlet as a front runner, don't forget to change her positioning and strategy from pace to front, as it's always set to pace by default. And like all Umas, Daiwa Scarlet also has a natural stat boost when training or friendship training in speed and gut. So as per my Uma build video, we're going to build her as a mile to medium Uma, and that translates to a target spread of 900 speed, 500 stamina, and 600 power. And this is going to sound weird, but before we actually pick our legacies, we need to know ahead of time what the 2 filler support cards are going to be. Yep, you have to choose your legacies not only about the track distance, style, stats, and skills that can pass down through sparks, but also around what support card types you plan on using. So if we're planning to build Scarlet, we want 900 support card types you plan on using. So if we're planning to build Scarlet, we want 900 speed, 500 stamina, and 600 power. What does that tell us? Well, we got speed covered, as we know we're getting full speed support cards for her. So what's next in line? Power. So that's what we're going to want for our 2 support cards, 2 power cards, because it's the next highest stat that we need to focus on. And when we're going to train power, we're also slightly going to increase stamina, as stamina is the secondary stat to training power, and this will also increase with friendship training. But will that be enough to help stamina stay slightly behind power? Well, that's going to depend on the legacies and sub-legacies Blue Spark star rating, as we'll get stats from the legacies when we start the career, and then another 2 times through inspirations at the classic and senior part of the career. So we're going to be looking for a lot of stamina from at least 1 legacy, since we're not going to be running any stamina support cards. Then we're going to be looking at speed when it comes to the legacy, and then we're going to be looking at power. So for our guest legacy, these are our 2 contestants. So I have to choose between these 2 because this is the kind of dispersion that I'm looking for. So how do I choose between these identical legacies? Well, I look at other things. Track, distance, looking for. So how do I choose between these identical legacies? Well, I look at this is the kind of dispersion that I'm looking for. So how do I choose between these identical legacies? Well, I look at other things. Track, distance, and style, but also...
By the way, this is when I was talking about how do people know about their style or like their distance stuff. I was like, it's right there on the card, man. All that information is like literally right in front of me. Anyways, but
skill hints from the inspirations, and this one has a little bit more to offer me as it brings my long distance to an A, which will help with Daiwa's last career race goal. We then look at the skill hints that can pass down through inspirations, and I know I can use one or more for Daiwa based on her distance.
I wasn't using that,
so
right?
I'm going to go for this one. Now for my legacy, I'm going to pick my only and best option, being a wide stat spread across 3 stats I need to focus on here. So we're going to go with this one. Now for the support cards. As I said before, we want 4 speed and 2 power for Daiwa based on her distance and style and the legacies we've chosen for her target stat spread. And this is so we can complete her career easily and build her in the correct way. These are the cards I have available, with the highlights being Sweep Tosho, but also Daitaku Helios. And naturally Kita-san Black, and considering how many videos are out there about that card, I don't think I need to explain why. So as we touched on support cards effects earlier, some support cards like Daitaku Helios also have support effects that will increase the initial stats at the start of the career. For example, this one will give me an extra 20 power as soon as the career begins.
Cool.
And it also has a skill that I know I can use for Daiwa if I manage to get it through a hint when I'm training. But that's not all. Some support cards also have amazing career events where they can pass down hints for skills that may also be desirable. And don't worry, because just like everything else, we will make a full skill guide, but please let me know in the comments what you would like to see next, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. So apart from the guest support card slots, it's really going to come down to whatever you have gotten from the gacha and events on your accounts. But if you're mostly free to play, like me, then your account won't have all the support cards that you'll necessarily need. And choosing support cards for skills for that Uma is also really important, but planning what skills you'd want also to get a chance to transform into a skill spark, aka white sparks, from your support cards, that is also very important. Because if you get it as a skill spark, you can then use that legacy to pass it down through a hint in an inspiration. So if you got a support card that you only wanted one skill from, and you've passed it down to a legacy, you can then get it through an inspiration from the legacy instead of reusing the same support card. Once more, well done.
Yo, you gotta have a crazy mind to have made this game.
You've made it to the end of the video, and even if you couldn't stay focused throughout, you did the best you could, and I know you've learned something. Anyway,
yo, you really called this out. I think that's funny.
Here, hit that subscribe button, and I'll do my part and bring you more Uma Musume guides filled with tips and tricks to help you succeed. This was Static. Remember to have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.
Did you have trouble focusing? There was a little moment, I don't know when it happened, but there's a good 3 minutes where I struggled, man. I started to struggle. Oh, it was right when I checked the time. I don't know when it happened. I was like, I'm actually struggling to focus, man. That's another reason I struggle these types of things. So you're reading, I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like reading, man. I just want to do it. Shout out to my homegirl Gold Ship. Shout out to my homegirl Gold Ship. Homeboy. So, anyways, but like, I was gonna watch this video anyways. And if I can be honest with you, reacting to it is gonna be better than me watching it on my own, because it held me accountable and I couldn't just get up and disappear. Like something fell. Oh, something fell. I was like, what the hell fell in my room? That took me out. ADHD. Anyways, that's good, man. That a lot of stuff is obvious, and again, it's just been very intimidating for someone like me, because I don't really play gacha games like that until now. And there's something to when you don't game a lot or you don't solve puzzles a lot in games. I remember I got frustrated in Star Wars. I had to figure out some type of game thing. I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I just want to mindlessly go around just destroying things. Shout out to Gears of War. Is that a 2 or 3? I remember Horde mode. Didn't have to think. You just gun and have a dope team. Shout out to Borderlands 2. I felt the same way. And Kingdom Hearts, the first game. Anyways, yo, thanks for vibing with us. Yo, you have great videos that you guys want to recommend. My next thing is this legacy versus support card, Uma Musume. So I'm gonna see what I get for this category. This one I have, so there was something I was like, I'm kind of lost on that part of it, which is probably very easy. I just add things that I'm interested in reacting to. All right, guys, I gotta head on out. It's lunchtime for Lee. Thank you for checking me out. Please subscribe if you haven't. We game weekly right now, so we got more content. I'm still doing Warhammer content. I'm interested in weathering waves, by the way, and I'm interested in that before Genshin Impact. Oh my god, I just made some enemies. But whenever I see artwork and I'm like, yo, that's fire, where is it from? It's usually weathering waves, so that's what I'm into or interested in. So there's a couple things I want to branch out and try, rather than be a one-dimensional streamer or content person or a reactive person, whatever you want to call me. All right. But anyways, I'm out, guys. Much love to you. Guys, quick reality check for the collective, which is you, our audience. That's my nickname for the Rock family. We're hitting 1.5 million views on a monthly basis, and that's iconic. But 71% of you guys haven't subscribed yet. That's almost 1 million people who are watching, but not subscribed. Now, if just 10% of those viewers hit the subscribe button, we would add nearly 100,000 new members to the Rock family, the collective, overnight. That kind of growth would change everything. What? Better content, more variety, higher production value, all the things I read you guys ask for in the comment section. So subscribe. And if you really want to be part of Rock family, you can also turn on all notifications. Thank you.